So I've got something in my head as a what if. Inside Calamares, in the modules, we're saying to him, do this kernel. So make init cpio -p kernel LTS. Yeah, but we never say do the same for the Linux kernel. So my idea was, can that be done? Well, first of all, I'm gonna mess up my code. So Control C, Control V. I'm gonna call you test. And then there are possibilities to have instances. It has been a while since I've used instances, because basically I want an instance for this one and an instance for the other one. Am I correct? I want an instance for this guy. Control C, Control V. I want one for Linux. And I want one for Linux LTS. All right. So I want one for Linux. I want one for Linux LTS. I've got that. And in the settings, I have to tell him I need the Linux. And then later on, I want that to be the last one, Linux LTS. Now, how did I need to write it again? I can't make any typos here. So let's try with this as basis. I need ID Linux. Was that the ID? No, that was not the ID. Yeah, well, yeah, I think so. And then shell process needs to be not net install, not shell process. It needs to be, well, init cpio. Needs to be init cpio, and the name of the thing is init cpio, and one is Linux. Okay, and the other one is Linux LTS, and you can find the information there. To me that looks good. Voila. So we've got ourselves a test going on. Git to instances. Okay. Now we build it. To instances. Build Eric, build XS LTS. That's what I love, right? Experimenting, breaking it all, Why is it breaking? That's why I get gray. Okay. Now we put it online on the ArcoLinux repo ISO Eric, nowhere else. Okay, that's online. And then I'm gonna launch Super F7. I'm going to go to ArcoLinux LTS, start. I'm booting up in the virtual machine, live DVD. Okay. Now we want to play around. We want to switch Calamares configs. And this actually is a great tip for all builders, Carly, ALCI, ArcoLinux B builders. You can boot up an ISO that you just built a few minutes ago, but the Calamares config is not okay, right? What I do is I type in ISO. You can make similar aliases. That's wrong, not ISO, but add ISO. Well, if I make a typo like this, I've covered that. It does the same thing. It's going to add the repo ISO to Pacman, and it's going to update. Now, in this case, I'm going to say no, because at this particular moment in time, the Xorg server cannot be updated. Stay out of here. Don't want you. So this yes, and that no. Just that one. So now I have an XFCE, or sorry, a Calamares that's changed. The question is, did I make a mistake? Calamares quick in telling everyone something is wrong. As you see, was unable to load. This is a problem the way Calamares loaded. So I made a mistake. Like I said, it was some time ago that I've used instances. Whoops. So Calamares modules. What could be wrong? Well, first let's open that one. No, not with mousepad. Oh yeah, of course. You type def. What you get? Sublime text def. Oh, Eric. Okay, let's fix that. Pausing. Voila, done. So what I do now is again an update, which I can't execute, but I have a new ArcoLinux system installation. I can't execute it because of the fact that can't get this one, can't get that one, but I can get the new one. So the new kit on the block, F12, will do a Sublime Text 4 and also melt and also rip grab if it's not available, if it's not installed, like that. So now I have Sublime Text, and then I can move on and analyze. Module IT kernel, and then it's written like net install at kernel. So here it is then. I forgot the add sign. Oh my god. So add sign. Do not display message anymore. Genzel. Yes, please. Run Calamares. Voila. All right. So while he's installing, and we can check that later on, I'm gonna fix my typos. Belgian. There he is. One Mac. Next. Done. So pausing here and let's see what happens. This is where it's all happening. Make init CPIO. Maybe can still quickly go to file, temp, Calamares root, boot. He's doing his work. He's building and the Linux LTS and the Linux one. Awesome. That's what I wanted to achieve. All right, cool. That's gonna end pretty soon. So one of these guys is running. Is it this one or that one? This is the guy being built. Take a look at the numbers down there. So sometimes people ask, hey, it's stuck. It's not stuck. Hey, it's working. It's busy. It's creating an init run file system with make init CPO, and it's gonna be in your boot. There you can follow it along. Grub is coming. Grub is coming to you. This is all the packages that Calamares needs. It's basically kind of based on Plasma. KDE packages need to go. If you want to have XFC later, don't need it. Can keep it. Don't need it. Booting in E. Take a look. Linux LTS. Escape. Enter. Now it says to. The thing was, never mind that little error. It's a beauty spot. Beauty error, something like that. I don't know if they have a name for it, but that's what it is. So Linux LTS, cool. Sudo pacman. What if? Let's first take a look visually already. File system boot. We've seen it, but it's there. I can go in grub and switch, question mark, restart. I can now, I boot standard in LTS, which is what I wanted. And if I do not want that, then you can't do it here, that's for sure. But in here, you can, right? So clicking here and this as an tab, no, an E. There is VM Linux, escape, and this has an E, that's also VM Linux. Yes, I'm reading that right. And the first one is again Linux LTS, and again an escape. What would happen if at some point in time I say Linux LTS just works, and I've just shown you with Grub Manager how to do that. Now I'm gonna show you something else, otherwise don't like to be repetitive, and nor do you, I guess. Sudo pacman -remove. Let's assume the Linux LTS is really not necessary. Do we have still a working functioning system if we remove Linux LTS? Okay, that is looking good. And then we reboot and everything should work. That's the point, right? Now we press E and we see Linux root there, and we can boot into it because we have a RAM disk. Awesome, awesome. And then we can play along with it, put it back in there if we want to. Linux LTS back in there. Fine, but I am so eager to test out the Zen kernel. You install the Zen kernel. Wait for it. What's gonna happen? File system boot. Wait for it. Wait for it. There they are. That's the one. That's Linux fallback, that's Linux Zen. Okay, not good. If you look, okay, it's finished. Let me say that in after rebooting. E, Linux Zen, you see it? Escape, enter. What I was going to say is these days, 14th July, Xorg server wants to update, and you see it all the time. And Pacman, go edit your Pacman file and tell them to forget about it. Ignore package. Xorg server. And the other one as well if you want to, but that's not critical. X, yes, please. Save, thank you very much. And when you then update, it's gonna not update that one. I'm gonna skip that one. And you'll still have a functional XFCE in VirtualBox at this point in time. All right, all set. This is the ISO to be released. Cheers.